Hi, Sandra King from Boccia England. It's day 15 of the hashtag Boccia at Home training videos for coaches and players. So today I'm going to talk about rules. Knowledge of the rules is really, really important. You can download the full rules from either the Boccia England website or from the BISFED website, and I'll put links to that in a file that will accompany this video. Knowledge of the rules can do a few things for you. It can help you or your athlete not to break the rules. That's obviously really important. And of course, if you break the rules, you may very well get some kind of penalty, something against you. It can help you to identify when your opponent breaks the rules. So that's quite key as well, because sometimes if your opponent is breaking the rules, it might give them a disadvantage. So an example would be inappropriate communication. If a ramp assistant is able to talk to the player and give them some advice during the match, that would clearly give them an unfair advantage. So you knowing those rules and being able to respond to them appropriately is really important. So then the next thing is it helps you to respond if somebody else suggests that you've broken the rules. So it's really good for you to know the rules securely so that you can say, yeah, it's a fair cop, or actually, no, I didn't break the rules. That was done within the guidelines. So as an example, that same ramp assistant between ends could advise the player on how they're playing. The difference is that that's between ends and it's not during the actual play. And finally, it can help you or your player to keep the game fair if you get a referee who's not so sure of the rules. So that's another quite important one. We actually, in this country, we have some really great referees. But we also, of course, have people who are learning. And of course, all referees are human and we can all make mistakes. So it's good when the athletes really know the rules and they can keep the referees, the officials on their toes and check that they're doing everything right. So when you start out in boccia, the rule breaks generally revolve around 2 or 3 different things. So one of the big ones is BC1 and BC3 assistants not knowing the rules. And I'm going to ask a rhetoric question to the coaches, but how many coaches actually train the assistants as well as training the players? Because that's really important. If you're giving assistance to a player and they have no idea what the rules are, then of course they're very likely to cause a violation. And obviously all those violations go against the player, they don't go against the assistant. So second rule that's very often broken when we get new players, and that's rules about being in the box at the point of release of the ball. And the third one is generally inappropriate communication, which I've already spoken about a little bit. And finally, this can happen quite a lot, particularly in the BC8 class, players not responding or not waiting for the referee's signals. So players need to understand what the signals are for. They need to understand that they can't play before their colour is shown, that kind of thing. That's really important as well. So coaches, are you coaching these things? Because they are important. I'm going to suggest that players and coaches use this time during our coronavirus lockdown to actually think a bit more about the rules, because it's a great time to be able to do a bit of study like this. And I'm going to suggest a sort of 3-point way that you could work with 1 or more other players. So this could be between coaches, could be between coach and player, could be between 2 different players. So number 1, I want you to look up a rule. It can be a bit confusing. Sometimes the rules say in one place, you can't do this. And then you have to look somewhere else to find out what happens if you do it. So there's usually a reference to the 2, but you do have to cross-check that. So what can I or can't I do? And what does it mean if I break that rule? So you look up the rule, make sure that you know it. Then the second stage is I want you to challenge the other person. So this isn't an email, this is actually a bit face-to-face, so it might be a little bit of online meeting or whatever, to ask the question of the player or coach. If they know the answer straight away, the game comes back to the person who's done the question. They've got to find another question and come back again. But if in asking that question, the player or coach that you're working with doesn't really know the answer or hasn't got the full answer, they then get a week to go away and really understand that rule and understand more about it, and then do the same back. So they then become the person that's asking the question. So they're going to learn the rule that they didn't get right, and then they're going to learn another rule and come back to you with that rule as a question. A little bit of interaction between two people with the different rules and things. And yes, of course, you can try and catch each other out, put some easy ones in, put some harder ones in, and make sure they're relevant to the classification group of the player. So that's my little challenge to you all. See if you can get to know your rules better. You'll see in top level games, you don't see so many rules broken because the athletes all know them really well. And you'll see that one of the really good on-court things that some of our top athletes do in this country is you'll see that they can manage what is happening on the court because their understanding of the rules is that good. So have a bit of fun with this. See if you can get to know a few more rules, and I'll see you again later. Bye-bye.